Alright, let's take a look at 2.9, more shopping for cats and dogs. So, Clarita is upset with Carlos because he has been buying cat and dog food without recording the price of each type of food in their accounting records. Instead, Carlos has just recorded the total price of each purchase, even though the total cost includes more than one type of food. Carlos is now trying to figure out the price of each type of food by reviewing some recent purchases. See if you can help him figure out the cost of particular items for each purchase and be prepared to explain your reasoning. So, here's our first two purchases he made at the same store. Okay, so we're still dealing with systems here, right? We've talked about graphing. We've talked about substitution. Now this one is the third one. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Now, the idea is for you to think through how you can figure out what's going on here. Okay? So, you should pause this and try these problems out first. See if you can get the answers, see what your reasoning is, and go from there. So, alright. So, probably the easiest and most intuitive, the way that makes the most sense is to look and say, okay, got 2 bags of cat food, 2 bags of cat food. That's the same. 3 bags of dog food, 3 bags of dog food. So I know that this portion is worth $28, right? So here is the difference between the two purchases. So what's the difference money-wise between the two purchases? Well, 40 minus 28 would give us 12, right? So I know that 2 bags of dog food should be equal to $12, right? Which once I figured that out, that's pretty simple, right? We just split it and we know a dog of bag food, that's what I was going to say, a bag of dog food is only $6. So if we know that, then we can go back and say, well, 6 and 6 and 6, that gives us 18. So 18 minus 28 would give us $10. So the cat food, 2 bags of cat food is worth $10. So 1 bag is $5 of cat food. So we know that we've got those two answers. Okay? Since we're dealing with systems, we should probably remember that we need to write them as a coordinate, depending on what each one would be. If we want to go that far, we can. Okay, so take that same idea and apply it to this one. Can we do the same thing? Well, 3 bags of cat food and 3 bags of cat food, right? So we can totally eliminate the cat food. And why would we want to do that? Well, think back. Once we eliminated the cat food, and even some of the dog food, we were left with one type of dog food. Had this been one dog food and one cat food, we still couldn't figure it out, right? But since it wasn't, that's the trick. So yeah. And then 4 of dog food. So we basically eliminate those and subtract that $43 from $54, giving us $11. Okay? So 2 bags are worth $11. Split them in half. That's $5.50, right? For a bag of dog food. Once we know that, 4 of them, 4 times $5.50 would be what, $22? So subtract 22 from 43, and we get 1 and 2, so $21. So 3 bags of cat food for $21. We know that it's a bag of cat food, $7. Okay? Which makes sense, right? Using those differences, being able to get rid of one of our bags of cat, one of our types of bags, allows us to figure out the rest. Okay, now let's take a look at number 3. This one's probably tougher, so try that one first. Make sure you pause it and try it on your own before you see how I would do it. So, some of you may think that you can't use the same idea, because you would say, okay, 1 bag of cat food, 1 bag of dog food, 1 bag of cat food, 1 bag of dog food. I'm still left with a bag of cat food and 2 bags of dog food equals 16, the difference, 26 minus 10. It's not going to work, is it? Okay, because we still have 1 bag of cat food. So how can we still get rid of that bag of cat food because it's different than the bag of dog food. Well, we've got 2 bags of cat food. Is there a way to get 2 bags of cat food over here? Could I say I have 2 bags of cat food and 2 bags of dog food? How much would that cost? Well, following the same logic, that would double as well. We doubled both bags, so doubling would give us 20. Now can we eliminate? Yeah, now we can get rid of those. We're left with 1 bag of dog food, which would be the difference of 26 minus 20, so $6. Now that we know that's $6, we know this has to be $4, right? Because that's the only amount that would add up to 10. Okay. Alright, now let's take a look at it in word form. Finally, Carlos couldn't find the receipts, but he remembered this purchase of food. One week he bought 2 bags of Brutus Bites and 3 bags of Lucky Licks for $42.50. The next week he bought 5 bags of Brutus Bites and 6 bags of Lucky Licks for $94.25. So can we do the same thing? Well, first, you may want to write it out. We'll call these the Brutus Bites. Okay. And then the Lucky Licks. Right? So draw a picture, right? Remember that model? Drawing a picture. Okay, we can do the same thing. Could we make this into a more, I guess, equation-y? Yeah. 2 times the Brutus Bites plus 3 times the Lucky Licks equals $42.50. Yeah, we could do that. And then the other one, 5 bags. And 6 bags. And that one equals $94.25. Okay. And then we'd have to say, is there a way that I can match these up, right? Well, I've got 3 here. 3 is half of this, right? So if I doubled this amount, I'd also have to double this amount, which means I could then double this amount, right? To $85. Then we could say, okay, now those match up, 6 and 6. 4 and 4 of those. We eliminate those. We take 94.25 and find the difference from 85, and we get 25 cents, right? And 94 borrow 14, so $9.25 for that remaining bag of Brutus Bites. So once I know how much that one costs, we can go back here and say, well, 2 of those, subtract it from $42.50, and we get that, right? So let's think about that more as an equation. Let's think about that more as an equation. Okay? So we had, clear that space, we had 5 bags of Brutus Bites plus 6 bags of Lucky Licks for $94.25. Now we doubled this top one, which means in math we timesed everything by 2 to give ourselves 4 Brutus Bites plus 6 Lucky Licks equals $85. Then we said, hey, we're going to find the difference, right? We're going to eliminate things. So we subtracted, because 6 minus 6 gives us 0, which 0 times any variable is just 0. 5 minus 4 gave us 1b. And then 94.25 minus 85 gave us $9.25. So we had the Brutus Bites equal $9.25. Then we can go back to this original equation and say, and use that concept of substitution, right? That if these cost $9.25, what was it, $42.50? Yeah. Okay. Then we multiply that to 1850, so 18.5 plus 3L equals 42.5, simplifying it. Subtract 18.5. That cancels, we get 3L equals, that becomes 0.0 borrow. 12 will give us 4. And 3 minus 1 is 24. So 24 divide by 3. And we get L equals 8. So the Lucky Licks are $8. And the Brutus Bites are $9.25. Okay? So, what did we do here? What was the process? Well, we did something with matching one type and finding the difference, right? In other words, we eliminated one of our variables to get down to 1 to figure out what it was. And that's the third way we're going to talk about more. Elimination. We have graphing, we have substitution, and now we have elimination. And I like elimination the best because I think it makes the most sense. Made these problems seem really simple, didn't it? Well, these were just systems of equations. But by doing that elimination, made it a lot easier.